To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. Jay here, positivesarcasm.com, recorded here from the Spare Parts Studios. Happy Sunday, snowy Sunday that is. You can find me on Instagram at Positive Sarcasm. You can find me, if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, you can go ahead and take a look below in my pretty little corner of the screen. You can see which social medias you can follow on me. So if you want to go ahead, you know what, maybe what I should start doing is in the description of my program is start putting the actual links to my social medias and whatever else you can do besides just the positivesarcasm.com/donate. I know that there's so much information that people use to I love how everything right now is all about the algorithm. Like everything, like you put clickbait information in the algorithm, you try to design it so that it is, so that if people are looking for what you're putting out there, it's easy for you to find. A lot of the times don't feel like I'm part of this algorithm. And maybe that's for a good reason. Or maybe the algorithm doesn't want me. When I talk about the algorithm, I mean the system that's in place on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, or whatever. That's designed to, for example, if you're looking for a certain hat, it used to be simple, and it used to be simple anyways, but if you had a hat, if you were making, like, let's say you take pictures of flowers, and it's like, hashtag flowers, and then people search for flowers, and then boom, all the pictures of flowers, or so on and so forth. But now it's kind of like to the point where if maybe YouTube or Instagram doesn't like you, they maybe devalue your hashtag a little bit more, or they devalue your website a little bit more, or your profile a little bit more. And it's like, but at the same time, chasing this stuff is just, it's a waste of time. I'm not a big fan of chasing things other than my own dreams, but I don't know if I chase them or maybe I just create them myself. But I just don't want to ever feel like I'm part of the norm, or I'm part of, not that being part of the norm is the bad thing, but being part of a norm, or being part of an algorithm, or being part of everything that's supposed to be according to somebody else's viewpoint of life. And I'm just not about that. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy watching YouTube videos. I enjoy making YouTube videos. I enjoy listening to podcasts. I enjoy making podcasts. I enjoy watching people make food. I enjoy cooking it. And of course, I enjoy eating it because I'm a fat ass. I enjoy watching dogs on Dodo get rescued. I enjoy playing with my dog. And not posting it to social media, although he's a cutie pie and I should probably make his own Instagram feed. But that's more time I'm wasting to be focusing on everything else. I'm too busy. Right now, I don't even have my coffee online for sale yet, and I've already got 4 orders I gotta fill. What the shit? So I'm just focusing on the path that's in front of me, which requires a heavy amount of my time working behind the scenes. Conversation, preparedness, writing down sketches, taking notes, designing, planning, lining up lists of things I need to purchase, need to build, need to design, need to go find in the lab, all the moving that is required. The announcement I haven't necessarily made yet because I don't want to jump the gun. I'm maybe 3 days away from an official announcement, but the fact is I've got a lot of things to move. I have a lot on my plate. I am very tired. It is the holidays. It's been a long week of investigating investments, transitioning, planning out the next 6 months of my life, because it is the most important, I think, 6 months of my life. I've waited 10 years for all this stuff. I've worked very hard towards it, and with the effort I've put towards these things, the stroke of lucks, per se, have started to swing in my direction. Now I constantly say, follow the money. Focus on your own shit. Don't worry about anybody else. This brings up a very interesting question. Do I have a conscience? Do I have a soul? Do I always do things about the money, or do I make decisions sometimes in the best interests of, I don't know, just being a human being? Well, that's a good question. And the answer is sometimes, kinda, yes. Like, I can invest in any company I want, and I don't care as long as I make money. I can start a business selling masks in order to make money. But I feel like that would be... I feel that that's beneath me. I know everybody's trying to chase the dollar and sell whatever they can. I know I could put clickbait titles in order to get more views. I know I could do TikTok dances and make political viewpoints in order to gain people's attention or to cater to one side of a political family, where I have a rule on this podcast where politics doesn't get involved. There are the obvious out there, but yet I feel like I'm better than that, stooping to the level of having a show just about politics or religion or sports. I like the fact that I'm able to skirt those things reasonably enough to where it doesn't show up in this 30-minute episode or in the 1-hour episode on Wednesdays, or it's just not has to be a part of this universe that I've built. It only really shows up briefly or sometimes in the videos that I make or in the articles that I write, which I would love to get back to, but that requires a certain, a certain environment in which you can sit down, have certain music, have a certain drink, have a clear mind, and be in an environment where you are able to produce writing. That's not something I've had for quite some time, but I'm having that one coming up soon. So let me get back to my point here. Right now I'm trying to create an environment that is conducive to writing, shooting video, doing podcasts, and consulting and everything like that, and editing video, whatever. So on top of all that, right now finances are my biggest thing. So I'm constantly preaching about following the money and forgetting about what everybody else is doing and just trying to make cash so that I can continue to invest in my future. Like, for example, I would love to get a newer, more stuff for the podcast studio, a bigger amp, a bigger receiver so I can do 4 mics instead of 2, and all that other stupid shit. And it's like, okay, where am I going to get the money from? Where are my finances going to be? What space am I going to have available to me? Is 2021 going to be friendly to weddings? Therefore, I can start shooting weddings. Are there going to be commercials? Are there going to be ads? Are people going to have money? Or am I just going to have to focus on the obvious, which is Wall Street, and make my money from there and go that route without having to stoop to catering to one side of the planet or, selling your soul, essentially, because I would like to agree with my viewpoints and be open to all ideas instead of just like some of the people that I've watched on YouTube have eventually... They have, in some way, shape, or form, kind of fallen to one side, whether it be because their brains are broken or because they were never honest to begin with, and they had an agenda. My agenda is just to create content and to just shoot my mouth off to the point where sometimes something makes sense. But when I tell you whether or not I have a conscience when I try to make money, the answer is yes. And the perfect example of that is, well, I always say, if you have an opportunity to make money, go ahead and do so. But I do call out when companies are shitbags. And if they are shitbags, I generally don't invest in them. Comcast, I've called out on numerous occasions about them being a trash company who screws over their fucking customers constantly, especially right now when there is a lot of people requiring the usage of the internet or people needing money in general or online education or what have you. And they don't seem to be helping anybody. And right now, if the grid goes down or anything like that, or the Comcast has a control, they have complete control in a lot of areas, and this upsets me greatly. So whenever I get a chance to talk shit about them, I will. I actually went to bat for Apple last week, a company I generally never go to bat for because of the whole India iPhone riot situation. When it comes to this latest company, Alibaba is a very well-known company that when it comes to discrimination against a certain population and things like that, I tend to take notice. And I try to make sure that if first of all, I've spoken very vocally, at least once, about the Chinese, about China in general and the things that they did about Hong Kong. It was an unavoidable topic. It was absolutely reprehensible, and ultimately Hong Kong lost. Hong Kong essentially is no more. It's just a name, but it is no longer its own government. It's its own system. It's gone. It's gone. It's completely controlled by mainland. But when it comes to extermination, as a family who, as a person who was raised by a strong section of my family that understands what happens when its population is trying to be wiped out, whether it's by Germans or by Russians, what have you, it's all the same. So when a company like Alibaba is creating technology to spy on a certain segment of the population, whether it be by race or by religion or by ideology, I tend to take notice of these things. And if it is a company I can generally avoid to not invest in the long run, I'd rather not do so, because I don't support companies that support genocide. I have a big problem with that. So when a company like Alibaba, which according to Benzinga, who is running with this article, the topic of the article is it uses facial recognition technology specifically capable of spotting Uyghurs. Uyghurs are a segment of the population. They're a type of Muslim. There's a large population of them in, I think, eastern China that have been basically sent to camps, and that's where they can stay. They are re-educated, whatever that means. If you've ever seen the movie, there's a really good movie by Christian Bale. Well, it's not a really good movie, but it's an interesting movie. It's called Equilibrium, where people are stripped of their emotions via a drug, a pill that they take like every morning. And they take that pill and it pulls all the emotions out of their body, or out of their mind, so that they can basically follow the grid. They follow the system. And if anybody is spotted having some type of emotions, they are sent to processing, which actually when you're sent to processing or re-education, they're thrown in fire. So that reminds me, that Orwellian type of movie reminds me greatly of this. And if you haven't understood, recognizing or segmenting out a certain section of the population, the Uyghurs, with facial recognition technology reminds me a lot of the early to late 1930s, when Jews were separated from the population, put in a certain section of Germany, and then ultimately either they were originally supposed to be cast out, but they ended up being murdered. So this thing of mine, if I knew, like, for example, if there was a company in the late 1930s, and I say I existed in the late 1930s and I was on the stock market, and there was a company that I knew was responsible for killing Jews, I would be less likely to support them and probably let people know about, hey, this is what they're doing. You should be aware of that while you're investing. So, what company? I don't know. Was Volkswagen responsible for the death of 10 million Jews? I don't know. I have no fucking idea. All I know is they make a sick Porsche 911 now. But that was then, this is now. And what I understand here is that a lot of companies right now that are under control of China don't really, and I mean it, when you are a company there, you are subject to whatever they say, and what are they doing? If they want your data, they want your information, they can take it. So if this company, Alibaba, is contracted to make software that spies on a certain segment of the population, I tend to take notice. That upsets me greatly. So Chinese tech behemoth Alibaba Group Holdings, I don't care if it's a fucking company that's a subsidiary of Alibaba. It doesn't matter to me. Facial recognition software that can track the ethnic Uyghur minority group in China. The claim is based on a report surveillance analysis from the IPVM in collaboration with the New York Times. I know the New York Times is a shit article, but a shit magazine, but every once in a while they do get something right. The report quoted extracts from Alibaba's Cloud Shield API guide describing the facial recognition software's surveillance capabilities. The earlier version of API guides, last updated in May 2019, contained specific mentions of the Uyghur minority and a guide to using the recognition tool for synchronous and asynchronous detection. China, as you very well know, is big into facial recognition technology. That's how they do their surveillance. That's how they keep their population in check. I was actually speaking to my nephew, who was telling me that in his town they're using drones to pull people over. They're using drones to spot people, take pictures of their license plates, and give them tickets. I say this with concrete 100% meaning. If any police department is using drones to give citations out to citizens, they should have their funding pulled or reduced. Actually reduced. Because here's the thing. that drone is by taxpayers. So taxpayers pay money so the police can get that drone, so they can send up that drone in order to fine taxpayers even more. So paid for by the taxpayers to take more money from the taxpayers. That's what they're using these drones for. If for some reason a police drone that is giving out citations to citizens for rolling through a stop sign or doing 10 miles over the speed limit happens to be hit, God forbid, by a 20 gauge buckshot and falls out of the fucking sky, well, you're not going to see me complaining about it. So in conclusion, well, after that, let's continue on with the article. The New York Times reported the subject further claimed that the facial recognition software was modified to keep track of digital content and scan specific facial attributes. China uses other models like a wider surveillance dragnet and genetic testing to monitor the minority group. The Times quoted a statement from an Alibaba cloud spokesperson who said that the ethnicity, quote, the ethnicity mentions refers to a feature function that was used within a testing environment during exploration of our technical capability, and that it was not deployed outside the testing environment. First of all, China is known for lying. As you can see, as of recent, there's everything that's happening right now is because of that fucking country. Not because of its people, but because of the people that run it. So, conclusion made. They lie. They say that it's not being used, but it is. They say they don't do things, but they do. They control Hollywood. So this matters greatly because this facial recognition technology, if created by them, could be sold to other countries in which they will use it on their own people to control the population in order to take all the power away from citizens. In this last year, I have become more for the individual than I ever have in my entire life. I was already individual anyways. I never was a really big fan of huge corporations. I mean, to the extent that they have a monopoly on a certain segment of the market. Duopolies and monopolies are occurring way too fast, way too often nowadays, and nobody's doing anything about it because they're getting paid to shut their mouths. China, on the other hand, is something far more scary, and this whole facial recognition thing is not something I'm a fan of, especially considering a lot of countries that are in the United States also do business with China. So the fact that if this technology was to make its way over here, we'd have a huge problem. We already have a huge enough problem. This is not something we do not mean to throw another log on the fucking fire that is 2020. And all we have to show for it is a $1,200 stimulus check and half that on the way. Great. I can't wait to go off the grid. The fact is, the information, why does it matter? Well, this is Alibaba. In June of this year, Microsoft, Amazon, and IBM voluntarily opted not to sell facial recognition software to the U.S. police forces. At the same time, Microsoft President Brad Smith expressed the need for humane national law that governs the use of this technology. I'm not opposed to that concept either. But anything that uses facial recognition can always be used and abused. Most things require a warrant. And in this case, China doesn't give a fuck about warrants. China doesn't do warrants. They just do China. And that's it. But this is Alibaba's information. Alibaba claims that it's not true, but I don't believe Alibaba. Alibaba is the Amazon of that region. Now, what does this have to do with having a conscience? If Alibaba's making technology or having a contract with a company that does this, well, Alibaba has two options. Shut it down or, well, they're not going to shut it down. So why would I invest in them? Because you obviously understand, if they are a publicly traded company, they need public capital and preferred capital in order to continue running. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough private investors, so they have to go public. So why would you invest your money in them? Why would you put any money through their fucking system to keep them going? Whether it's 1 share or 1 million shares. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I would do a margin call first thing tomorrow morning and just take all your fucking money out of Alibaba. There are plenty of other companies. You can be a fucking grunt on Wall Street, but you do not have to waste your money in these companies. You do realize that, right? There is one thing that you can do, and you can have a little bit of conscience before you go investing in companies and doing a quick pump and dump, which is basically you buy a stock one day, you fucking jack the price up through the roof, and then the next thing you know, you just pull all your money out for quick cash. You can do that. Fine. You go ahead and you do you. Whatever it takes to get that green and to get that gold. But there's no reason. to give this company any more attention. If this is their ultimate goal. If this is their ultimate goal. And right now we have other companies going on blacklists too. Sadly, one of them is DJI, the drone company. I own 2 of these drones. I love these freaking things, and I love to continue flying them. But if this blacklist thing causes any more problems, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get these goddamn drones out of the air. And next thing you know, I'm going to have $500 paperweights sitting around. That's going to suck greatly. Really. Because when it comes to my camera equipment, the one thing I can control is whether or not how I can turn them on, whether I can use them. I don't need to upgrade them. All I need to do is turn them on and just press record. Drones is a little bit different. Drones require the use of constantly upgraded software technology connected to the grid so they can fly safely with GPS attachments so that they can sit in the air in a proper location and not fly away on me. They need constant upgrades. They need constant information. They need constant data. That's the difference. In order for them to fly properly, that's what they need. My computers don't need that. My cameras don't need that. My drones do. But I don't need facial recognition. I don't need any of that information. There's plenty of problems that we can solve without having to dive deeply into that segment, into that way of life. We don't need to go down that road. I just find it disgusting that as a person here, I'm not going to fucking wave the Jew flag all the time, but I find that if a segment of the population is being reprocessed or eliminated or stopped from having a free way of life, because this company, this country that I shit on all the fucking time for being scummy in every conceivable way, is doing this to a segment of the population, I've got no reason to go there, invest in there, or invest in companies that take what they say seriously. This is one of the reasons Hollywood is on my shit list right now, because of the hypocrisy of everything that they stand for and how they bow to China. How sports leagues right now bow to China. Hollywood bows to China. How companies that make computers or make software or make whatever bow to China. Google bows to China, or at least they did. You know, I would love for companies like Apple and companies like Tesla to ultimately move a lot of their factories out of there. I know Apple has moved some of their stuff to India. Great. You can move some of your stuff to Taiwan, which is not recognized by China. The reason I go on about this, it's important to at least haphazardly bring up the topic so you can get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. All I have to say is there's a Chinese company that's being shitty to an entire segment of the population, all because of their race or religion. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to say to you so that you can go and investigate yourself. Alibaba, Muslims, and concentration camps. That's what they are. They're called education camps. Re-education. What are you re-educating them to, by the way? What are you re-educating them to? What's the fucking point? What is the point of all this? Because maybe they don't go along with the way you do things, so you just segment them off. You're taking away somebody's right to be who they want to be. And as long as they're not infringing on somebody else's right to live, but then again, like I said, they don't live in our country. And it's not our job to go over there and tell them how to live, tell them what to do, tell them how to think, tell them who can live and who can die, what you can worship and what you can't worship, how to spend your money, who you should be friends with, what your opinion should be. It's not our place. But it's also not my place to be investing in these Chinese companies. It's also not my place to be buying the majority of their products. Don't get me wrong. I love drones. DJI is the best company out there for drones. But it's still early in the game. And it's only one of the few products that I buy from there. Okay? I don't buy Huawei products. I don't buy a lot of my products directly from China to save a couple extra bucks. And I have a conscience when it's not like I can eliminate this company from my life, because a lot of the things that I get have materials that come from there, that originate from there. So what the fuck do you expect me to do? Well, I can always minimize it. I can keep using my drones, which I love. However, The parts I use going forward can be made by other companies, by other countries. I can also look at newer drones that are being made by other companies going forward. Eventually, there will be another company that makes drones that will be better, that will be cheaper, and that will go farther and faster for longer. Maybe it's Autel Robotics. I don't know. But it will be another company eventually. Sadly, all that was out there from 2014 to now was two companies, Unique and DJI. That's it. And Unique couldn't hold a fucking candle to DJI. DJI's drones were faster, stronger, they could go farther, better batteries, better streamline, better GPS, better cameras, better gimbals, better everything. They were an amazing piece of product. Amazing products. And I love them. Absolutely love them because these things have personalities. That was what made freaking drones so great. They have these little personalities. They look like little robot animals. That's what makes them so cool. But this right here is different. DJI is a company that makes drones that you can fly, take pictures with. Granted, there is a concern about them when they fly, the amount of where that data is, where that data goes, where you're flying, who's using the product, where does it go? Where does it go? Good question. But there's nothing conclusive yet. But at least according to me, I don't work for the NSA. I think I know somebody who does though. But that is the case. The Alibaba thing is more undeniable than not. So why would I invest in that company? Look at this. We'll look at Alibaba as far as what it is, what its involvement, where does it originate, how much money it's worth, what's its market capital, and is this a company even worth investing in? So let's just take a look here. Let me look up Alibaba. Let me see. Alibaba. Come on. There we go. BA is its stock symbol. So let me just scroll down here. Take my fucking time. Okay. Hangzhou Zhejiang. So it's a Chinese province. Engages in providing online and mobile marketplaces in retail and wholesale trade. Operates through the following business segments: core commerce, cloud computing, digital media, and entertainment. Core commerce segment, blah, 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 blah. It's headquartered in Hangzhou, China. Okay. Founded in 1999, 117,000 employees. Let's see. Has a 96% buy rating on Robinhood, but that doesn't mean anything. What else? Stars align for emerging market growth. Bill that was signed to target China. Yeah, Chinese companies are also about to be delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. So keep that in mind. That's another thing. So their average volume moving on the stock market on a daily basis is 13 million shares. 13 million shares are moved back and forth in the New York Stock Exchange every fucking day on average. Market cap, $700 billion. And right now their shares are sitting at $260 per share. And their high for this year was August 26th at $307 a share. Is that true? Yeah, about that. But look, let's break it down to its most basic form. If you're a company that has a huge hold on the market, offers all these goods and services which are super convenient. Let's just say this was Amazon. Let's just say Amazon, this Alibaba and Amazon are the same thing. But let's just say Amazon doesn't like Amish people and uses facial recognition technology to track Amish people, track their movements. Or Hasidic Jews, tracks their movements. Or black people, tracks their movements, what they do, who they hang out with. Would that be a national issue? Would that be something that would be discussed on every fucking news network, every podcast, every bantering two idiots on a front porch? Wouldn't you think? Understandably so. That it's Christmas time. You're out there retail shopping. You're going online. You're buying stuff from all kinds of places, from all different companies that come from all different countries, run by all different governments. And there's plenty of ways to save money, but you do have to ask yourself, at what length are you willing to go to make $1 on the stock market, to save money on buying that product, to satisfy your own primal needs of enjoyment, whether it's driving a car, flying a drone, watching a show. At what length? When are you willing to stop and give back? Or not give at all? So my thoughts are, like, this is why I buy Swiss watches. This is why I buy nicer clothes from companies that have a better tradition, that are not known for killing millions of people. This is why I don't buy... This is one of the reasons I don't buy Nike products, because they're virtue signaling douchebags. Alibaba is not a company I utilize because I don't even utilize Amazon. So if I don't use Amazon, why the fuck would I use Alibaba? And with cell phones being so cheap, why would I need a Huawei phone? Samsung makes great phones. Motorola makes great phones. So I don't need them. So take into consideration, it's like, do you need this company? Do you need that? Do you need to have that shit in your life? So, I mean, it's the holiday season. It's the holiday season. And you need to understand that companies like this that do terrible... This is a fucking terrible thing that's being covered up. It's being covered up because this company works with a country that constantly lies. And the idea that they're taking a group of people and subjugating them to whatever. Education. Re-education is an Orwellian concept that not only kills people, it kills dreams. It kills segments of the population. And it's a virus that plagues mankind from all the terrible things that we've done throughout human history. And this is a perfect example of reasons why you shouldn't support them. So, you can go ahead, if this is through benzinga.com, but you can just look up Alibaba and Uyghur Muslims. Or you can just look up Alibaba and Muslims. Just understand, it's a segment of the population that wants to do their own thing, and a company and a country are targeting them. That is systemic. We're done here for today. I got one more podcast here in the Spare Parts Studio 2.0, and then I'm going to be shutting things down for the remainder of the year, as far as I believe, because I'm going to be closing this down. So I got one more podcast in this studio, and then I'm going to be tearing it down and putting it in containment until I move into the new Spare Parts Studio. I haven't made the official announcement for 3.0, but hopefully, God willing, it will be coming up very, very soon. It's just been exhausting. I haven't been sleeping very well. Everything that's been going on and back and forth, and it's just like a lot of hurry up and wait. It fucking is just driving me nuts. The whole process of trying to get to the next stage. But I'm at that point. It's like the Battle of the Bulge. Eventually, I think I'm gonna win. It's just there's a whole shitload of Germans in the fucking way. It's driving me nuts. So I'm trying to just move forward and get this thing that's it. Once Wednesday's podcast is completed and recorded and uploaded, this whole thing is getting teared down. And I'll record the time lapse of it being torn down, like taking down all the stuff, and then taking it down, putting it in storage. And then for, I'd say 1, 2, 3 months, I'll be in the mobile underground studio. And then from there, building a new one up, taking a second hiatus for a couple weeks, and then boom, going live. And then we'll go from there. And then hopefully once I'm in that environment, better peace of mind, more creative atmosphere, I can start shooting all kinds of stuff again. But there's so much stuff. And like I said before, the idea of not being 100% on something is then when I don't want to make an announcement. I'm close, but not yet. And when I do, I will make a formal announcement of what exactly is going to happen, because this is an address. This is a thing. This is a studio. This is a physical location. People need to know where it's going to exist in the future. So when I know, you'll know. But until then, you can find me on where I do exist. You can find me on YouTube, Positive Sarcasm, and Positive Sarcasm Podcast. Thank you to all the new subscribers, all the new viewers and views, and people who needed posing music this week. I forgot. Freaking bodybuilding shows are still going on. So, well, at least in Texas and Florida they are. But until then, you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. You can find me on Parler. You can find me on TikTok, whatever. So you can find me on all those channels. If you need anything directly, you can email me, positivesarcasm@outlook.com. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to positivesarcasm.com/donate, or you can just go to my website, positivesarcasm.com. There's a Cash App affiliate link, and there's a Robinhood link. Big fan of Robinhood. I know they just got fined $65 million recently, but look, they're a new company. They're doing the best they can, so definitely support them. It's a perfect example of having free access to potential money. If you say, well, they treat it like it's a game, life is a fucking game. Just try to win, okay? Robinhood can help you win, or eToro, or Webull, whatever. You have access to a market. Utilize it. Capitalize on it. But until then, you can find me all over, anywhere where podcasts are available, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, CastBox, Podbay, whatever. And then, of course, you can also download and stream directly from my website, positivesarcasm.com. Hit me up, positivesarcasm@outlook.com for all your questions, concerns, or comments. And until then, thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. And I will talk to you all on Wednesday. Happy holidays, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Stuffy nose. Thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. And I will talk to you all next week. Well, Sunday, or excuse me, Wednesday. Today is Sunday. I'll see you all on Wednesday. Recorded here from the Spare Parts Studios. This has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation.